Good morning, everybody. It's another one of my videos. I'm beginning to feel a little bit like a film star with this. It's by no means by desire. I've decided to make another video because the guidance around self-isolation that we act on as a school has changed. It's changed significantly. You have received a letter, and it's also on the website and on Facebook, but again, sometimes it's best to kind of talk these things through. So our procedures when we have a positive case, a notification of a positive case, have changed. So for instance, it used to be the case that when we were alerted to a positive test result, we would look at our seating plans for each lesson that the child is in. We would look to identify the children seated within 2 meters around that child, in front of, behind, to the left, to the right, diagonally. Check with a member of staff present in the room that they've kept 2 meters, and then they would be the people we would look to ask for 2 weeks self-isolation from the date of the onset of symptoms, and also to include in that anybody who is in what we would call the direct contact social group. And that's the process that we've run for a good period of time. And that's how we report to the relevant authorities, and that's worked. And all our cases in the school to date are the result of community infection, and they are also single cases. We seem to have had a lot more single cases than most, but that's because we serve a ward in Sandwell which has such a high infection rate. So we feel we were managing risk well. The guidance changed this week from the Public Health Sandwell team, which is really, really good guidance. And again, I've always talked about how positive I am about the support that we have from the various external agencies. There's no change there. So this guidance means that when we have a positive case, we have to ask the whole class now to self-isolate, including the member of staff who's been in the room, for the duration of the lesson. Now, for parents, carers of Year 7 children, there's not really a lot of change there, because those children are taught in their tutor groups and they spend all day in their tutor groups. When we've had a positive case in Year 7, it's always been the whole class that self-isolate for 2 weeks. We haven't had to ask the adult in the room to, but now we will. So there is a change there for us. And if you can think that through from our point of view, trying to run the school, there are 6 lessons in the day, and if we ask 6 staff to self-isolate for 2 weeks, it obviously becomes a difficulty for us in terms of capacity, staffing-wise, to continue to run the school safely, which is why we're having to consider partial closures for year groups now. So you can see from this week we had 2 positive case alerts in a year group that we had to act on, and rather than simply lose the one class, where that child is in lots of different classes, because if, say, they're in Year 10, they may have 6 different lessons, 6 different teachers, 6 different seating plans, because there's option groups and maths, English and science sets. It becomes a bit more complicated for us and more difficult. And of course, if we go back to the infectious period for the student, that's up to 2 days beforehand. So that could be 12 lessons. It could be 12 different groups, probably not, more like 8 or 9, and 8 or 9 teachers. And in that instance, what we have to do is look at, can we manage that significant large number of children having to leave our academy to self-isolate, the volume of calls, the volume of correspondence that involves, or is it easier and actually the only way to do it for us safely, for us to close the academy for the year group whilst we churn all that through? And that's the decision that we took this week with the year group. There were so many children involved and so many staff that to continue to operate safely for the academy that day, we had to close for the year group. And we did it according to procedures, and we made sure our communications were sound and good, and we had a very orderly departure from the academy. But I guess what I'm saying to you now is, given the new guidance, given the fact that it's the whole class for the duration of the lesson, and the member of staff and teaching assistants, if appropriate, in the lesson, that we would be losing, it is likely that we're probably going to have to look to partially open or partially close, whichever way you look at it, for year groups on a rota. I can see that coming. And this video is just to highlight to you as parents, carers, why there's the change and the impact that has on us as a school. And actually the biggest impact it's going to have for us now is trying to manage the staffing to make sure that we can operate safely as staff leave to self-isolate for 2 weeks, as well as all the children. Rest assured, the process we went through this week with the new guidance, I led because I wanted to see at first hand what it looked like and how it could be managed. And we did it well. There are things that we would now do differently, minor tweaks in terms of our communication, but it is always a learning process. I just needed you as parents, carers to understand the new guidance and to see how we were approaching it and the implications. It is never a decision I take lightly to close the school for a year group. I really dread doing that. I need to know that children are safe and that they are learning. And I can't do that necessarily if I'm having to close the school for them. So I don't like being in this position, but it's the right decision to make, but I never take it easily. So there you go. I'm hoping that's cleared it up. Sometimes hearing it and seeing it is different to reading it on paper. So I'll continue to do these videos, and I know, as I've said before, these are chaotic, they are demanding, they are difficult times. We will get through it as a community. We really will. Keep the faith, and if we keep working as a team, we will be fine. So again, thank you for all your support, and I hope you have a lovely weekend.